And so, yeah, hi everyone. So, I am a software engineer in Microsoft. I joined Microsoft last year. Before that, I was in Samsung. I explored around 1.5 year in Samsung. So, actually, I was 2020 graduate from LMIT, Jaipur. That is the like you can say a tier 2 college in Jaipur. So yeah, to in total, I had around 3+ years of experience as a software engineer. Apart from that, I also love to guide students and mentor people a lot. Yeah, that's a short intro.
Okay, that's great to know about you. From a tier three college, you have created such big companies. So, can you just explain about how should we make resume? Then we will move forward to uh, like uh, uh, review session. Like it's a review session, so we can continue with resume reviews.
Yeah. So before reviewing the existing resumes, so I have few points you can keep in mind before creating any resume. And so first is the presentation. So first of all, whatever you mention in your resume doesn't matters a lot. So first thing, your resume formatting should be like neat and clean, and it should look impressive. Whenever an interviewer or HR will see that first time. So just pick any resume template which is more simple, and in that template should use the maximum space to in that way you can add most of the content in your resume within a single page. So that is the formatting and space utilization thing. And once you select your template for your resume, so then the first thing you should always mention is your name, and then you can mention your email address and phone number, links, and all. So after that, there's the ordering of different sections. So it depends on person to person, but I personally feel that the order which I'm going to share with you, it works a lot in fan companies. So in that order, I personally prefer to put my education details on first. In that education, you can mention your 12th level details, but it is not mandatory. So your college level details is mandatory. Apart from that, the tech skills. In that technical skills, you can mention your languages, your developer domain, or if there are any frameworks and your subject expertise like OS, OOPS, and other things. And apart from that, if you have any other tool knowledge, you can mention those things in your tech technical skill section. So while mentioning these skills, try to put only those skill in which you are good enough. So it is not like quantity doesn't matter. It quality matters a lot. So don't think if I mention 10 or 20 things in my skill section, that will increase my chance of getting selected. And after that skills section, then it comes to the next section should be your experience section. In that section, if you have any internship or prior company experience, you can mention those experiences in that section. So how you should write the description of your work, we will see that part in later in this session. And after that experience section, you can add your college projects. It can be your personal project, freelance project, or it can be your open source project. So try to align those projects. Don't mention too many projects. Three and max to max four projects is enough for a fresher, or if you are applying for SD 1 or 1+ year experience role. So again, for the description part, we will see in the later in the session. After the college section, you should mention your achievements in In achievements, you can mention your coding profile, ranks, and like if you like participated in any hackathon, you can mention like what position you achieved that in those hackathons, and if you like you were a TA in your any organization or anything, you can mention those things. And the next point comes in your mind, should we mention the certificates in our achievements or not? So certificates are like it doesn't matter a lot. So if you are adding it, it well and good. If you don't want to add, it doesn't matter, and it will not increase the probability of your resume selection. And so these are the major sections you should add in your resume. And but again, there's a few things we should keep in mind that, for example, there is no need to add the language you know. Language is no, my mean is if you know Hindi, English, and other language or not. So these things is doesn't require to a tech resume. And also don't try to give the numbers to your skills. For example, sometimes people just show like C++ 4 out of 5, Java 4 out of 5. So don't do this because you are not the right person to judge your skills. So you cannot explain someone how much good you are in that language. So this is a brief idea that these points you can keep in your mind and start writing your resume. And yeah, so I think we can start reviewing the existing resume, and in that way, you will learn a lot what things you can avoid in your resume.
Sure, we can continue with the reviewing session.
Yeah, uh,
You can just share your screen.
yeah, I am sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I picked few resume. And yeah, so let's start with this one.
Sure.
And first, so in this resume, first thing is the template, which is not good. You can use, there's a lots of template present in the internet, which are like, don't pick those templates which has the fancy colors and all. So you can just pick any simple, neat and clean template. So for example, I have also, so this is the one example which explains that it is a simple and it covers all the major sections. So try to pick these type of formats when creating a resume. So here the major issue is template is not good and it is looks a little ugly in the if you compare with the current standards and other students' resume. And apart from that, there's a lot of things which doesn't required in a resume. For example, there's no need of any images in your resume. For example, she mentioned the C++ icons, so you should not mention these things here. And apart from this, that project description is also not good. So one second. So I feel before reviewing that, I just want to share the detail how you should mention the project or experience section description. So for that, I have this screenshot of one of my friend's stamp resume, and I think my whiteboard is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see in the experience, suppose you worked, you did some internship in XYZ company, and so here you clearly see that the role in of your role and your company, and when you come like did that internship are clearly mentioned on top. So you need to mention these things on top, and these are the very important things to mention in any experience. So apart from that, when we think how to write a description, in that case, we generally made a lot of mistake. We generally mention like I developed this, I created this feature, and only these things. So I recommend you to do this way. So suppose you develop something which improves for example, efficiency of your system by 5%. So you can mention that in that way. So uh, increase the efficiency by 5% via developing that certain API using some sort of text. So in that way, we are first mentioning what impact we made, and impact is very important. So whatever you did in an internship, it doesn't matter if uh, that is not beneficial for that company. So for example, here you can see he mentioned that like you can read improved customer experience of this product by implementing API for configurable instruction. So here he's clearly mentioned that what impact he made via developing those API. For example, in the third point, you can see he did some work, and that work in result he improved the efficiency of customer success. So in short, always try to show your impact, and then if you have any fixed number, you can mention that number like improve efficiency by 5%, and then you can explain what you did. And in the description, don't you can add at max 3 or 4 points. So don't exceed more than that. In 4 points, also try your last point should be the tech used. In that area, you can mention the all the technology you use to build that uh, to build that project or you use in that internship. For example, here he clearly mentioned the technologies he used for that internship. So one thing is missing here is you should always bold few things in your resume. For example, you are writing you improve the efficiency by 5%. So try to bold that improve efficiency by 5%, because that is it is the most important point, and you should bold these things to like that is the best way to show your main things to the interviewer or HR. Also, bold a few technologies in which you are good enough in the experience section as well. So these are the major points you can consider while writing a description for any internship or any like work experience. So similar to the project, so here, first of all, add the project name and bold that. Also, you should add the time similar to the experience, add the time when you develop that project. And again, you can mention 3 points in that project. First point should mention what you implemented in short. So like what is your project all about? In second point, you can show some description about your project features. And in the third point, you can mention again the tech use. Whatever technology you use, just mention that. Also, if you deployed that project somewhere, that is great. You can mention that deployment link in the project section. And suppose if you don't have any deployment and anything, so just at least mention the GitHub link for it is like if you didn't mention anything, it's just like there is no proof that you built that project because you don't have anything. So that is the main things you should know about while writing the projects or experience in your resume. So let's move back to the resumes I picked for review. So here, as I said to you before, so templates is not good. And if you see career objective, all the things is just a paragraph, and try to avoid paragraphs in your resume. So nobody want to read the paragraphs, and like everyone try to like escape from these things. So try to add everything in bullet points, or your bullet points also be short and clear. So here your skill section is also not good. Don't use icons and all. And here interest is like it is not necessary to add interest, but if you have space, you can add those interests. But language is like this is a useless, and it is like doesn't impact to your resume a lot. And apart from this, like for example, in training, try to describe a little bit better way. So here, she didn't use any bullet points or any bold characters in her description. So similar to the projects, try to break the description in points, as I said to you before. And yeah, these are the major things I want to highlight in this resume. And the one more thing is that your photo also is doesn't require, like you can skip adding your photo if you don't have space in your resume. So second resume I want to share is this one. So here I feel like he mentioned a lot of things, but 50% things are not relevant to the interviewer. For example, first of all, like as you are a fresher, and you don't, there's no education section on top. So everyone want to read from start, and your education identifies like if you are a fresher or experienced person. So education section should be on top. And apart from this, so our day of my life, for example, so interviewer is not interested like what you do in your day-to-day life and all. He only wants how good you are in technology, what skills you know, what projects you built, and what interns you did. So this section is not required. In experience section, he mentioned a lot of things, but again, the description is missing, and it is just a little point. So Infosys internship. So if I am an interviewer or HR, so you just mentioned you did an internship in Infosys, but what you did and how, what you achieved via that internship, you didn't mention anything in your resume. That these points are are useless for an interviewer who is looking for a good candidate. And again, this is not also unnecessary thing for a resume. And here, so yeah, so it is all about you are showing your day to day about your personality to the interviewer. It is not explaining about your uh, technical expertise. So this all of these things are like doesn't improve and help you to getting selected in any good companies. Also, language is not required because in India, majorly companies are looking for English, and Hindi is almost everyone knows, and English is also like even if that person is doesn't know about Hindi, definitely he is or he or she is good on English. So you don't need to mention the languages in your technical resume. Yeah, so these are the major points which are which he can improve in his resume. And one more thing is, I saw both resume, and there is no coding profile link in these resume. And And I think you all know DSA is much important for getting selected in any product-based companies. So your DSA profile link should be there in your resume. Otherwise, nobody will like pick your resume because he already have a tons of resume which has the DSA profile in it. So you have to be add something new or impressive in an impressive way to like showcase your resume. Even if you have similar skills, but your resume should be on point and looks good. And that is the main key point that every like if you or your friend have the similar skill, but his resume is selected, but you left behind. So let's move to the next resume. So here, first thing is template format is really bad if you compare with the current standards. So don't use these kind of handmade templates. There's a lot of good and quality templates present for free on internet. Try to use those. And again, the photo is also not required. Even the photo he uses is not properly aligned. And many things are missing is in his resume is, for example, in the let's start from top. So here again, he made a mistake while adding a paragraph in a resume. So nobody want to read in a resume because in a survey that there's a I forgot the name. They conducted a survey, and in that survey they found that not generally hiring managers and HRs only gave 10 to 15 seconds at max for any candidate resume. So your resume should be readable within a 15 seconds. So you can read your resume and check if you are able to read the important things within a 15 second or not. So again, the that paragraph is also like looks bad or also reduce the quality of your resume. And here the intensive experience also he like directly mention the things he didn't use any bullet points or even the major technologies he used, he didn't mention anything. So and that description is also very bad if you compare that I explained to you before. Similar to the project section, there is no link present in and there is no properly aligned things. So you can see here the space is high, but here the lines are touching the corner of your resume. So this is not good and it looks ugly and nobody wants to read this type of resume. Even your content is great, your skills are top notch, but your presentation is not good. So presentation plays a very first role in your resume. And yeah, again, that coding profile also missed here. So now let's move to the next one. 1 second. Yeah, this one. So in this template, I can say template format is okay, but again, it is a stretch a little bit. Like you can add, you can give some extra space in your corners because you have a limited content in your resume. And in that education is okay, and he mentioned that part. It's okay. Skill section is okay. Yeah, so there's one mistake here is try to put your experience just after the skill section because experience takes a high weightage in your resume. So I think someone raised the hand. I can. So Vishaka, should we pick the question now and at the end?
Or you can take question from Jigar Vyas. No issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Hi, Jigar.
Sir, I
You can ask your question.
question asked for review my resume where I will share my resume. Please let me know.
Sorry.
For reviewing my resume where I will resume on any email ID or where I'm asking to you.
So you are
Jigar,
asking. Yeah, Vishaka, you
yes,
can
yes, good.
continue.
Okay, so Jigar, we have already mentioned that we gonna select 5 or 6 resume, some random resume. So we have collected more than 70 plus resume. So we have selected 5 to 6 resume that will be reviewed. On the basis of the result, you can make changes in your resume.
Right.
You can continue, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying here that experience section should be just after your skill section. And in the experience section, again, try to modify the language that I mentioned before. That impacts a lot whenever HR or someone is reading your resume. It improves your resume quality and stand out from others. So yeah, that you need to improve your experience section description. Also, try to add the technologies you use in the experience section. After that, the project section, again, things are missing. There's no dates are there, and also the description is also in it is like a simple casual way in which everyone mention their description in the same way, like develop that XYZ application by using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and all. So there is nothing new and impressive that interviewer can find in your project. So try to highlight few things and stand out. Try to also, whenever you are creating some projects, so try to add some features which are unique, and you can highlight those features in your resume to improve your project quality as well. So sometimes we build projects which are like commonly used in all the resumes. So in that case, it is really hard to explain your project in a different way. So try to add some features or some unique features. At least it can be a little bit unique. So it doesn't mean you build some like out of the box. So you can add unique things in your existing project to make it different. And after the projects, you can uh, show your achievements or accomplishments. And again, I think you mentioned a lot of like you did a CP and other things, but you didn't mention the links of your profile. So if you are mentioning you are 4, 5 star in some platform, so try to add the link of your profile. And yeah, again, certification is not like required. And but if you have space and you want to utilize your space, you can add a certification at the end. But it doesn't impact your resume quality or your selection percentage. Okay, so let's close this. So this resume I picked because it is a good like if I compare it with others, so it is a good resume. You can say almost 70% things are okay, and your resume also should look in similar way. So in the first like if I am seeing this resume, we can clearly see all the things are aligned properly, all the section are aligned properly, and It is neat and clean. There is no fancy things present in this resume. So you also need to build your resume in similar way. But there's few things which are missing in this resume. That is why I want to share those things. And first major thing is there is no bold characters or points in this resume. So try to bold things which you want that interviewer and HR should read. And apart from the your experience education section is okay, you can swap these things, but your technical skills should be on top because as a fresher, this is the this is your key skills are plays a major role while selecting in any uh, job or any openings. And apart from that, description points are okay. So, but you can modify your descriptions in the way that I mentioned before. Try to add your impact first and then whatever you build after that. And the technologies you use, try to add a separate point. Always try to add separate point for tech used. So it improve the visibility of whatever technology you use for that internship or project. It also helps while companies runs that ATS. So it helps to get the higher points in that ATS softwares as well. So yeah, hi Sahil, you raised your hand. You can ask your question.
Hello,
Yeah, hi.
am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir, good evening. Sir, actually, my doubt is that is it important, right, to add the link of the projects in the resume and the
Yes.
links?
Yeah, I mentioned like a few minutes back. So projects, if you build some project, then it is like necessary to add at least GitHub link for your project. And if you deployed your projects in some platform, then it is plus point. But if you doesn't have any link, deployment link, so at least mention the GitHub link for your project.
And sir, if suppose I have built a portfolio website of my own, so can I add that in my projects?
Yes, sure. I You can add that because if you build that portfolio by yourself, you design that website, so you can add that because it is a project. Like building a website from scratch is a good project, and it shows your not full stack. If you use backend things, then it is good. But if that website is static, then it shows like you are good in that as a front end developer, you have good understanding.
Yes, sir. And sir, recently I have made a project using Node.js and one using is Scalar, which is Streamlit. So, is there any website like Heroku is disabled now? So, how can I deploy ML-based project like in this resume diabetes prediction system? These all
Yeah,
are run on S Scalar or like yes.
yeah,
So, how can I deploy that except Heroku? Heroku is banned now
okay.
or included
So
paid.
for ML things, I don't know at this point. So you can first try to search. If you found it is okay, but if there is no proper or free platform in which you can deploy a project, so you can only mention your GitHub link. At least try to deploy your code on GitHub. If you are not able to find any platform for deployment, so you can just mention your GitHub link, and it is okay. Like it is not necessary to add the demo link always.
And sir, like my current CGP but my 12th percentage is 69, and I know that there is very difficult in college placement on campus. So how should I prepare myself for the off campus as I'm currently entering into third year from August?
Yeah, but that is a different whole new topic, and that required a proper discussion for that, right? So I think we can ask questions which are related to resumes only. That is great for everyone. Otherwise, this session will increase to 1 or 3 hours.
Okay, but sir, just tell me that if I build resume with a good DSA and like projects, then क्या मुझे मतलब ऑफ कैंपस अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल सकती है क्योंकि ऑन कैंपस तो मुश्किल है.
Yeah, so this is whatever I explained as of now, it is all about like if you are following these steps, you mentioned the DSA profile, you have projects, and that is enough for off-campus placements. And
Okay,
you
sir.
said your 12th percent is not
Yes.
good, so try to avoid to mention these things in your off-campus project. In on-campus, you have to mention because it depends on your college, but in off-campus, you can avoid to mention these things.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so back to this resume, and actually, I almost explained what things are missing. But again, whatever resume I discussed here, and this resume, I think I can give, I can say it is a good 70% or 80% good if I compare with others' resume. So, yeah, I picked these resumes only. And yeah.
Okay, sure, sir. Can you show your resume that got shortlisted in Microsoft and Samsung, so that everyone can get idea like how to make a perfect resume?
Yeah, Vishaka. So, yeah, you mentioned that point before, but I forgot to like download that resume, and that was a little old. Also, I need to like edit some my contact details and also so
Okay, no
yeah.
issue. You can share with me. I will share with others as well in the group
Yeah,
ID.
I will share that. But even I already shared the template and format on LinkedIn as a PDF. You can see like what resume I use in my first as a fresher and what resume I use as a in my Microsoft. So I already shared the templates and the overall format. Content is missing, and content wise, I already explained a lot of things in this session. So you can create your own content by following my advice. And for the template and the alignment, you can see that resume. And I will also share that link to Vishaka. She will share with you as well.
Sure, sir. Is there any more resume that you want to share?
No, I just picked these 5 resumes and yeah,
Okay, can you just explain about your journey, like how you cracked Microsoft and Samsung?
yeah. So basically, in my college, I start like whenever we join college, we generally prefer to do some development. If like everyone wants to start with development, if and development, I feel development is much easier and much enjoyable task if you compare with DSA learning. So I also started with the same thing. I did full stack development a lot. I built a lot of project in my first and second year. Then after the second year, decided and I see that the companies are asking DSA a lot. So I gradually increased the DSA learning and started exploring DSA a lot. And I reduced the time I generally give to my full stack development. So by the start of third year, I started learning DSA. Like I gave the full time to DSA only in my development part because I already built a good amount of project which I can use in my resume to enhance my resume quality. After that, I started DSA, and in DSA again, first thing is I built my basic concepts like theoretical concepts. I learned data structures and algorithms and their basics a lot. After that, I started preparation on Lead Code and Geek for Geeks. And I also practiced on Hacker Earth. So for CP, I use Hacker Earth, and for that casual questions, I used Geek for at that time a lot. So in that way, I solved a lot of questions on these platforms. And by the start of fourth year, I faced like around 1.5 months, or you can say 2 months. I faced a lot of rejections in my on-campus placements. Even my friends are like started getting offers, but I got a rejection around 2 months. So, but after that, I got a placement in one of company which is called SLK. And even after SLK, I get the offer from Samsung and Adobe as an intern. So I joined Samsung after my college, and like I did in Samsung, I worked around 1.5 year. After that, I planned to switch. And in the switching also, it is a like little tough journey for me because planned to switch to the different company, and I started giving interview, or I gave DP World interview, shared chat interview, and a few companies are also there. So I got rejected in the last round in all of those companies. So I after that I decided to not switch in a different company, and I stay in Samsung for a while. But so for 2 months, I decided not to switch. But again, after 2 months, I again thought I need to switch. And then uh, I cracked first offer in Synopsys India. After that, in the notice period, I applied almost every top companies. So I received a response from Adobe, Google, Microsoft, even Amazon. So after that, I completed my that Microsoft hiring process early. So in that way, I get the offer from Microsoft. And again, there is nothing special in my resume. Whatever I mention in that session, I only focus on these things and build my resume. And that is why I was easily get the response from all the good companies. And even after selecting a resume, the interviewing process is also a major point. Like if you mention a lot of things in your resume, and you have you are lacking in terms of knowledge and communication skills in in yourself, then definitely it will be a pain point for you while in the interview process, you can say. So that way I joined Microsoft, and yeah, so I almost completed 1 year. So again, in Microsoft, I am in learning stage. So it is not like that you joined a company and you are like now you can enjoy your whole life. So every day you have to learn a new thing to complete your project or whatever that your manager assigned to you. So the tech area is you have to learn daily, until till you are working. That means you have to learn new things. Otherwise, you will lag behind with others.
Great, great. That's really nice. So, if anyone have any question from Raja Singhal, then you can ask. Otherwise, we can end this session now. You can raise your hand first. Okay.
Yeah,
So it's the okay. Okay. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just encouraging my audience to just ask anything, and and don't like
Yes.
it is a casual session. You can ask अपने को doubt clear होना चाहिए, main तो ये है. You can ask your questions.
Okay, so it seems like we have covered all the doubts in our session through resume review. I think Muskan have any doubt. Muskan, you can ask.
Yeah, hi Muskan.
Hello, good evening, sir. It was a wonderful session. I had a doubt that w what do you do when it comes to days when you're not able to practice consistently, and when you feel like you're not able to do sufficient amount of questions, and at times at the back of your mind it is tough to maintain that consistency. What do you do during those times?
So for this, few points you can follow is first try to fix some goals, not a long-term goals. You can fix some short-term goals. For example, you can decide I have to do X 4 question within a week, or your second goal can be I have to do Y amount of question within a month. So at least try to solve one question a day. And sometimes we missed to solve a question a day. But in that case, try to achieve your next short-term goal, which is the weekly based goal. Try to complete the desired, like whatever number of question you decided to solve in that week. Try to solve that, achieve that short-term goal. And if you feel you are easily able to achieve your short-term goals, so you can raise your short-term goal limit. So previously you are solving the 4 or 5 questions, then you can start solving 6 and 7 questions. So my point is start with small goals, and then gradually increase your short-term goals. And if yeah, so is there anything you want to ask? I You can ask your question again if I miss something.
No, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and for motivation purpose, again, yeah, you also said the number of questions you feel that if you did the plenty amount of questions or not. So again, there is a no limit of solving. If I saw people which solve around 600 questions on lead code, but when I take interviews for that person and he didn't able to solve my like medium or easy level problems at all. So it is not about number of questions. It is all about how deeply you are solving that question, and if you solve that question, what is your takeaway you learn from that question. And for self confidence, you can join some mock interviews. That it helps a lot to increase the like confidence, whatever I learned, I can easily use that knowledge in my mock interviews. So there is a many free platform present where you can you do some mock interviews to improve your inner confidence.
So there is one more doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, what are the things that I should keep in my mind, the key points when I'm applying for off-campus placements? Just key points that should be kept in mind.
So first thing is try to read the job description and just see if it is okay with your qualification or not. And if you feel the job description is relevant to you, then try to pick some key points from that job description, like what are their technical requirement, what are the non-tech requirement they need. And according to those things, you can modify your resume a little bit. So again, your 90% resume is same for every company, but according to the job description, you can modify your resume a little bit to make it more towards that particular job. So that is the one thing. Second thing is you always go don't apply directly via websites and all. Try to use the referral things, and if you know the HR, try to send your resume directly to those HRs. So these are the main key points you should know. Otherwise, sometimes people didn't read the job description. They just check it is a fresher position, so directly they just apply. So it is not like that. Try to read the job description and try to modify a resume accordingly to increase the chance of getting selected.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Sir,
Muskan.
sir, one question that I got from one student, then what should be the expected length of the resume for
So
freshers?
yeah, for freshers, your resume should be within a one page. So, because I said to you, generally HRs take only 10 to 15 seconds to read your resume. So, resume is not like that, whatever you did, you have to mention. You just need to brief about yourself. And if interviewer is interested, whatever you did, he can ask during the interview. So in interview, you can explain other things, but in resume, try to like fit each and every point, your point within a single page.
Okay, sure. So we should end this session right now. So you can connect with Raja Singhal on his LinkedIn ID. I have just shared his LinkedIn ID in chat and shared QR code too. You can connect and download the template that has shared by Mr. Raja Singhal. And you can connect with Practice for more events like this. And we will surely gonna upload this recording on our YouTube channel. You can find it on YouTube by writing Practice. So that's all about it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yes. So you guys can start leaving now.